Hey guys, so the first thing I want to do is apologize that this update is so very extremely late. Um, I originally wanted to do one at 6 months and then time will go away with me. And then I was like, oh, 9 months will do. And then time go away with me. But today is a very exciting day because it is my 1 year anniversary of getting circumcised. Yeah. um, so I've made a special point of like planning this into my day to do this update, because I've had a lot of comments asking for like an update, which I've really been touched and appreciated that people care. So yeah, 1 year, yes, it's exciting. Um, Still just as happy and proud with my now cut dick as I was on the day that it happened. Even more so, maybe. Um, it's one of those weird things where like when I thought about doing the 6 month one and then the 9 month update, which again, sorry that they didn't get done. I didn't really know what to say. It was one of those weird things where like it's very quickly become the normal, where I can remember having a foreskin and I can remember what that sort of felt like, but not as like it's like a distant memory, almost like it's very quickly become as though it's like someone else told me about it and I'd be like, oh yeah, I can understand that. It's not necessarily a memory that I have myself anymore or something that I hold like really close and dear. I guess like the main things to touch up on, like when I originally started making these videos, I sort of said that I thought to myself that I wanted resources that other guys could use if they were considering getting circumcised. And so I guess I'll touch on those things. So sexual performance, I'm having no problems. Everything is still working and fantastic and great. In terms of sensitivity, I think like I can still feel my glands in like my underwear or against my jeans if I'm going commando. Like it's not my glands aren't like numb or dead. They're just slightly less than when I'm not aroused. So like if something were to happen to my glands, I'd know. I can still feel them. But my glands brushing against my jeans doesn't automatically hurt or make me like or make me get hard or anything like that. They brush against my glands and I get on. My glands brush against my jeans, there we go, and I get on with my day. In terms of sensitivity, I found that the second I become like sexually aroused or anything like that, like my sensitivity's back. I haven't had any real problems with that in terms of like actually feeling things. In some ways, I'm actually feeling more because that inner skin is exposed. I can feel like everything that happens on it, especially when it gets wet. So like blowjobs or lube, or being inside someone, I can feel everything that happens along that, which is quite an exciting new aspect of sex that I really enjoy and feels very good. Aesthetically, mine is healed really nicely. Just a quick recap in that I had like the dorsal slit method. So like they cut my foreskin at the top and then like around and then like stitched it up, like stitched my shaft skin to my inner skin. Originally I had like some bumps around like that scar line, but they've all settled down. I mean, it's not flat like a newly paved road or anything like that, but like it's not like, I wouldn't describe it as bumpy. It's just like a scar, and scars are sexy. Yeah. Yeah, so aesthetically it looks really good. There is a definite like two-tone situation, like my shaft skin versus like my glands. They're two separate colors, which I quite like that look. And my scar line is a little bit white. Whenever I have conversations about this with people about like preferred tools or the aesthetics I like in other circumcised penises, I am a big fan of like the brown ring from a Gomco clamp, which I think I've discussed in previous videos. And I don't have a brown ring, but I have a very faint white ring, I guess, and I'm not mad about that. in terms of, I'm just trying to like run through all things in my head that I guess I had concerns about. In terms of like tightness and like the height, like low or high cut, I know something that I was sort of worried about is that if my cut was like too far up, that it would pull my balls up, and I'd have like that turkey neck thing between like your dick and your balls, and then like your scrotum is sort of here. Hopefully that makes sense. Don't have that. I'm extremely happy with where the doctor cut me, so I'm sort of like, I describe it as like mid and mid, in that I'm like mid tightness. I'm not super tight, but I'm not loose. Definitely not loose. I'm not super high, but I'm definitely not a low cut. So I'm mid and mid, and that has worked perfectly. Like, I'm really happy with it. One of the things I have noticed, though, and this is a year on, is that like I do take longer to orgasm. I don't take longer to like get aroused or anything like that, but it does take me a bit longer to finish. But I'm not necessarily mad about that. I find that orgasms, because I have to work, I guess, a little bit harder for them, they come from like somewhere deeper. It's like a weird thing to explain. And if any cut guys are watching this, maybe you can sound off in the comments and sort of describe your experience of orgasming, if it changed. But it feels like it comes from somewhere like deeper inside my dick. It's like less superficial. And that means that like my orgasms feel like they spread all over my body a little bit more. I'm definitely like shooting further than I used to. Like, personal sexual note that isn't meant to be titillating, but is still a fact. I used to be a lot more of a dribbler, where now I'm definitely much more of a shooter with my cum. It is sort of frustrating, I guess, during sex when like your partner's finishing and then you sort of have to catch up, or you have to like hold them back until you both reach the same point. I like to orgasm at the same time as my partners, but that's just a thing that I like to do during sex. I don't need lube to masturbate. As you can tell, I'm just like jumping all over the place, so hopefully you can keep up. I don't need lube to masturbate, but I can use it. Like, I can masturbate without it, would be the other option. And like I said, with that whole like moisture inner skin situation, like using lube, obviously, like my inner skin, my glands become a lot more sensitive, and they're a lot more like sensitive to like fine touch, and that can be like quite an overwhelming experience. But it doesn't feel bad without lube. I think I've spoken to a couple of guys who've said that like one of the big things they're afraid of is that they'll then always need lube to masturbate, depending on like how high or low or tight or loose your cut is. That isn't necessarily the case. So when you go and have your consultation for your circumcisions with your doctors, if you're planning on doing it, just something to ask him, like, where typically does he do the cut? How tight does he do it? You know, knowledge is power, and information is always good. I've really enjoyed my 1 year of being part of like the brotherhood of cut men, of being on team cut, team helmet, whatever sort of team name you want to use. I've spoken to a couple of guys who are looking to get circumcised, and I've said like, oh, you want to join like the brotherhood of the hoodless, or like the brotherhood of cut men or whatever, and they're like, there's a brotherhood, and I'm like, not like a literal brotherhood, but like, yeah, I guess so, because if it's something that you're proud of and that you were glad was either done to you or that you've made the choice to, you know, we've all got a branding. We all have like this common experience and like a pride that we carry. So like, yeah, it is a bit of a brotherhood. And it's been really good just to start conversations about it and have people talk about it. And I know that, especially since I have been circumcised, is something that I'm much more open and less shy in talking about. Something that I'm happy to like bring it up with friends or in random situations, or I'll make a joke about to slip into conversation. Like Christmas this year, I had my hair from like my previous videos, my hair was down here and I had a bit of a beard, and people were like, oh, it's Jesus. And I was like, I made a comment that I was like, oh yeah, and that's not the only way I'm like Jesus. Like, and then, you know, they'll be like, oh, you Jewish? And I'll be like, oh, only where it counts, hey. Just like dumb jokes like that that can get a conversation started. I had some uni friends over at the end of last year, and it came up, and then it was just good to like correct some misinformation that, you know, that we can't feel as much, or that sex isn't as good, or that we always need lube, or, you know, just opening some guys' eyes to like the other aspects of it, of being like, it never tastes bad. When I get blowjobs, it tastes like, well, the other person is tasting my penis. They're not tasting like foreskin or smack like that. It is cleaner. That condoms are so much easier on cut cocks. So much easier. Like ridiculously easier. They're not like sliding off. Just like, yeah, like I said, correcting some misinformation, having those conversations, which is just actually really enjoy and really like. Like I said at the start of this video, I don't really know what else to talk about. Like, it's become just like the normal for me. I'm going to post this video, and if anyone has questions or anything like that, pop them in the comments, and I'll try and do a video when I have a few questions to answer. I thought doing these videos that I'd get a lot more intactivist comments and haters and things like that, which I really haven't, which I'm super thankful for. Like, that's been really good. But I do really like as well how many guys have commented, how many of you guys have commented underneath and said, you know, I got circumcised at this age or at this time, and it's been a really good experience for me, or like that you feel pride in it, or the guys who said that, you know, they were done as kids and they didn't really like it, but now they've grown to really like it, or like whatever your journeys have been. I've really enjoyed reading about them and hearing about them, and I've replied to some of the comments. If I have replied, reply back, because I usually ask a question because I am genuinely curious about your stories. You guys have heard my story. Yeah. I'm going to leave it there because, like I said, I don't really know what else to say. But if you have any questions, concerns, anything like that, let me know. If you want to find me on Twitter to have a conversation, my current Twitter handle is kyle.goodtoknow, but it's like Kyal. It's a whole thing about why I spell it that way. Like, don't even worry about it. But that's my current handle. Like, find me. We'll have a chat. And I'm always happy to talk about this topic with anyone, because clearly I'm interested in it enough that I went and got circumcised 1 year ago today. It's interesting how it's become like a part of my identity. Like, I'm proud of it. And I show it off more, I guess, than I ever would have used to. Like, I when I was uncut, I didn't want to talk about for fear that people would think I'm weird, or that was like a thing that was like very sheltered, like, oh, I don't want them to judge me. And now I'm like, fucking judge me. Doesn't matter. I'm circumcised and I'm happy with it. So, fuck you. Yeah. All right. I hope that during this pandemic, everyone is staying safe wherever you are, and have a good day, night, week, weekend, whenever and however you're watching this. All right. Bye, guys. I hope to get some comments from you below.